You're scrolling through job postings. Entry-level position, 5 years experience required. Bachelor's degree minimum. Salary 35,000. You close the tab. Open Instagram. Your college roommate just bought a house. You're 29 and still have roommates. Your mom asks when you're settling down. Your friends wonder why you're so risk-averse. And somewhere deep down, a voice whispers, maybe I'm just failing at being an adult. But here's what nobody talks about. You're not lazy, you're not entitled, and you're definitely not broken. There's something happening in millennial brains that's completely different from every generation before you. What I'm about to tell you will change how you see your entire generation, and why you might actually be the most economically adapted humans alive. Here's the thing nobody talks about. 26 and still renting? 32 without kids? When your threat response system activated during the Great Recession, something specific happened. Your amygdala perceived chronic economic instability and reprioritized survival over reproduction. Neuroscientists call this threat response recalibration, which means your brain literally shifted from long-term pair bonding to immediate resource security. This is why you can't just decide to settle down. Research on cortisol patterns shows sustained stress hormone elevation during prefrontal cortex development in young adults who came of age during economic collapse. Translation: your nervous system calibrated to scarcity, not stability. You're not behind schedule. You're on survival mode schedule. Here, that's your biology working exactly as designed. But it goes deeper. Your prefrontal cortex, the risk assessment center, fully developed between ages 18 and 25. For most millennials, that's 2008 to 2015, right during economic collapse. While boomer brains learned to take risks during prosperity, yours came online during catastrophe. Neuropsychologists call this developmental environmental calibration. Your risk evaluation wiring got programmed to a world where one wrong choice could derail everything. This is why you can't trust your gut like older generations demand. When their brains ask, "Is this safe?" yours asks, "Can I afford to be wrong?" That's not overthinking. That's your prefrontal cortex doing exactly what it was trained to do. You're not indecisive. You're protecting yourself from economic disaster with the only tool you have: relentless analysis. And here's the paradox. You want stability but can't commit. Jobs you leave after 2 years, relationships that stall, apartments you rent forever. Commitment issues? No, behavioral economics reveals opportunity cost obsession. When resources feel scarce, every choice feels like closing infinite doors. What if something better comes along? Research on scarcity-driven decision-making shows resource-limited people need perfect choices, not just good ones. They might not get another chance. This is why you research restaurants for an hour, then order the usual. Why you swipe but can't commit? It's not broken, it's mathematics. Your brain runs probability calculations previous generations never needed. They could afford mistakes. You've been conditioned to believe you can't. That's not commitment fear. That's survival math for an economy that punishes second chances. But there's another layer that explains why achievement feels empty. You got promoted. You feel nothing. You're working 3 jobs, optimizing everything, and still hollow. What's happening? Your dopamine system tells a different story than your accomplishments. Millennials are the first generation raised with internet access from childhood. Your dopamine receptors adapted to constant digital stimulation. Notifications, likes, infinite scroll, variable rewards every few seconds. Research on dopamine regulation in digital natives shows traditional achievement rewards triggers smaller responses than in previous generations. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation acceleration. The baseline stimulation required for satisfaction is fundamentally higher. This is why promotions feel like nothing. Why you achieve goals and immediately chase the next thing. You're not ungrateful. You're chasing right things with a different nervous system. One recalibrated by technology that didn't exist 15 years ago. Now here's where everything flips. The narrative: millennials are failing to launch, can't afford houses, delaying marriage, living with parents. Lazy, entitled snowflakes. But anthropology says different. Extended adolescence isn't failure, it's survival strategy. In resource-scarce environments, humans delay reproductive maturity. Biology hits pause when environment can't support the next generation. Millennials are first American generation worse off than parents. First with mountains of student debt. First where degrees required but don't guarantee jobs. Failure to launch is actually launch recalibrated for an economy that doesn't support launching. Your parents bought houses on single incomes. Your grandparents paid tuition with summer jobs. Those conditions disappeared. You're not failing their game. You're playing a different one with different rules. Surviving in an economy structurally hostile to your generation? That's sophisticated adaptation to systemic change. You're not the problem. The system is. Then there's the comparison problem. You scroll. Everyone bought houses, got engaged, got promoted. You're still figuring it out. But here's reality. Your brain evolved to compare yourself to 150 people with local tribe. Now you're comparing to 150 million, every curated highlight. Psychologists call this upward comparison overwhelm. Your mechanism is doing what it was never designed for. Result, perceptual distortion. You see everyone's edited finals while living your blooper reel. Research on social media shows systematic bias. People believe peers are happier, more successful than reality. You're not behind. You're comparing internal experience to external presentation. An impossible comparison. You're not falling short. You're experiencing neurological illusion created by tech that didn't exist 20 years ago. Recognizing the illusion isn't making excuses. It's seeing clearly. So what does this mean? The delayed milestones, analysis paralysis, opportunity cost obsession, dopamine recalibration, comparison overwhelm. They're not separate problems. They're coherent, adaptive response. You're economic refugees in time. Your nervous system developed during collapse. Your brain calibrated to a world where old rules don't work. Society labeled you failing, but here's the reframe. When environment changes, survival belongs to those who change with it. You didn't fail to follow the script. You recognize the script was written for an economy that no longer exists. Extended adolescence, strategic resource conservation, job hopping, risk mitigation, commitment hesitation, rational response to uncertainty. Every pathologized thing about your generation is sophisticated response to systemic economic shift. Previous generations judge you by metrics that apply to a world you never got to live in. Your generation isn't broken, the system broke, and you evolved. You're scrolling job postings again. Entry level, 5 years experience. Something's different now, you understand. Your response, the analysis, the hesitation, that's adapted, not broken. So here's what you do, stop comparing your timeline to theirs. Recognize threat response when it activates. That's your amygdala working. Decide if threat's real or inherited. Know your dopamine works differently. You're recalibrated, not ungrateful. Give yourself permission to build a life that doesn't look like theirs. You're not failing the old game. You're playing a new one. Maybe writing rules that make sense. You're not lazy, entitled, or broken. You survived collapse and built lives anyway. That's resilience.